Father fatally hit from bike in St. Thomas, son being sought. The police in St. Thomas are investigating the death of a man on Monday in Wheelers Field in Golden Grove and are searching for his son as part of the probe. Dead is O'Neil Anthony Farrell. It is reported that around 9:15 a.m., the man and his son had an argument over a piece of land which became physical. The father then left on his motorcycle and drove off. It is reported that he was followed by his son in a car, who reportedly caught up with him. The man was hit from his bike. He was taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Popular food vendor Gregory shot and killed in Standpipe. A popular food vendor was shot and killed Tuesday morning in Standpipe, St. Andrew. The incident reportedly occurred sometime after 10 a.m. Residents said the victim, who goes by the name Gregory, frequented several party venues, such as Mass Camp. One onlooker at the scene told reporters that Gregory was the sole provider for his two youngest children, ages 2 and 4 years old, and often kept to himself. The crime scene was littered with items of clothing, bloodstain, and spent shell casings. The motive of the killing is unclear. Police are investigating. 9-year-old boy in St. Catherine Johnson River while catching water. A 9-year-old boy drowned in a river on Monday while collecting water in his community of Harris Pass in Brownsall, St. Catherine. He is Tavoy Griffiths, who was a student at Brownsall Primary School. It is reported that about 6:10 a.m., the boy went to collect water from the river and reportedly got into difficulties and drowned. The Brownsall police were summoned and the body was removed. A post-mortem is being conducted. The police are investigating the incident. Consumer confidence increases by 1.4 percentage points. Consumer confidence grew by 1.4 percentage points between the first and second quarters of 2025. Executive Chairman of Market Research Service Limited, Don Anderson, made the revelation during the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce second quarter business and consumer confidence indices for 2025 seminar. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson said the growth in consumer confidence is linked to Jamaica's belief that business is much better, among other things.
We are virtually at the peak of consumer confidence in all of the 24 years that we've been doing this study, as you can see from 2001. And just in case for persons who are seeing this chart for the first time, I don't think there are too many persons who are seeing this for the first time, you notice that there are three huge peaks going across this chart from 2001 all the way to 2025. There's a consistent factor here, and that consistent factor is that those are election years. And it is probably opportune and appropriate that I should say that what that meant, those peaks that you're seeing, represent election promises made and election promises unfulfilled. So it's a season for that. So I thought I'd just mention that. So in 2000 and 2007, for example, consumers responding to promises that were made, that consumer index went up significantly and dropped precipitously shortly afterwards when promises were not fulfilled. The same, to a lesser extent, was in 2011. But since then, consumer confidence has been more or less leveling off at a higher level, and we haven't seen that kind of dramatic upward movement and downward tick immediately afterwards. That says something, I guess, about the fact that the electorate has become a little bit more mature and are not responding willy-nilly to promises made by both parties in an election environment. One was that consumers feel that current business is better than it was in quarter one. Current business environment is better. And that is evidenced by the fact that the consumer confidence at this level was 2 percentage points more than it was in quarter one. So they feel that current business conditions are better, marginally so, than it was in quarter one. There's also a slight increase in expectations that business will continue to get better. So not only do we have a slight increase in what they saw, but they believe that it will continue on this path, however marginally so. What's interesting is that consumers are also beginning to believe that more jobs will become available. And before we jump over the moon with this, consumers have never ever felt that jobs were plentiful. And therefore, when you see a movement, we're talking about a movement from a relatively low percentage to maybe 2 percentage points.
Rural School Bus Program will promote discipline, positive values, says PM. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has hailed the Rural School Bus Program as a transformational initiative that will not only ensure a safer and more comfortable environment for students, but also promote discipline and positive values. It's one thing to talk about the economics, but it's another thing to talk about the defense of the mores of the society, the morality and value that are constantly under assault with our children in public passenger transport. That is invaluable. You can't put a price on that, Holness says at a launch of the Pedro Plain Irrigation Expansion Project in Short Hill, St. Elizabeth last Friday. He noted that the concept of a dedicated school bus program is not new, as modern democracies often implement separate transportation systems for students. They understand the challenges that children would face if they had to compete with the public transportation, so they have a parallel, but separate transportation system that is more attuned to students and the maintenance of discipline, Holness pointed out. The Rural School Bus Program is being implemented by the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. Under Phase 1, the government is procuring 110 buses to serve 100 routes across 258 rural schools, benefiting approximately 328,000 students. The first 25 buses arrive in June, with the remainder expected before the next school year, which will begin in September. The bus fleet includes small 32-seat, middle-size 54-seat, and large 72-seat units, with 10 held in reserve for maintenance and emergencies. The units are American-made and as such come with passenger doors on the right, but Transport Minister Del Valls, he stated that all buses will be retrofitted to the doors moved to the left to ensure passenger safety during access and exit. The government has said that each bus is inspected by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company and meets international safety standards. Riders will pay a flat fare of $50 per trip, which is projected to save parents up to $180,000 annually. The government also said that over the next 2 years, its intent is to expand the program with up to 300 additional buses, eventually reaching all 850 rural schools. Holness and Valls, on separate occasions, stated that the buses will operate along major transportation corridors within each parish to ensure efficient and reliable service for students. Additionally, each bus will be assigned to a designated school selected by the Education Ministry, and the assigned school will be responsible for hiring drivers and overseeing the maintenance of the buses. This while Education Ministry will provide financial support to cover the costs associated with these responsibilities through a subsidy for students on the program of Advanced through Health and Education path. Additionally, a telemat system will include tracking and tracing capabilities, real-time ridership data, fuel management, maintenance management, and reports for participating schools, ensuring accountability and efficiency in service delivery. The government also said that the buses will utilize a cashless payment system, allowing students to access transportation without the need for physical cash transaction. Most importantly, the speed on these buses will be governed, so they'll be able to drive above a set speed to ensure safety of the children, Holness said in a previous address. In addition, an app will be available to parents who wish to check and monitor the safety and whereabouts of their children. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.